What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So you decided to click on today's video, which is great, but it also tells me that you might fall into one of two categories of people. People as in viewers on baseball YouTube. Here's person number one. Alright, let's see. This pitching prospect could be the next Jacob deGrom. Okay. Sure, let's check it out. And here's person number two. Alright, this pitching prospect could be the next Jacob deGrom.
Whoa, what?
That's bait. You may be neither of those people, but the fact is, when people make grand predictions on this website, it's bound to get hit with some backlash. Now, I've had my fair share of successful predictions in the past, but none have been as long-standing or daring as the one I'm going to make today. As most of you know, the 2021 MLB draft class is stacked to the brim with great pitching prospects. We already talked about Jack Leiter on the channel, but there's numerous other ones that I haven't got the chance to mention, including his teammate Kumar Rocker. But today we're not focusing on the Vanderbilt boys, we're going to a high schooler. A high schooler who hasn't even been pitching that long. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the amount of time this kid got to train privately on his pitching mechanics, he may just be the steal of the draft. He's a projected first-round pick, but there's a lot more to him than just his draft number. And I have reason to believe that even though he might not be taken first overall, many teams may regret passing up on him a few years down the line. So today, we're going to talk about the potential new age Jacob deGrom, and his name is Jackson Jobe. Before I can tell you why I'm comparing him to the best pitcher in the game right now, we need a little bit of background first. Jackson Jobe is currently a high school senior. He's 18 years old, he stands at 6'2" and weighs in at 190 pounds. He's got the build to be a major league pitcher, but it wasn't always this way. Instant success in baseball was never really something that came instantly to Jobe when he was growing up. Jackson is the son of a professional golfer, Brand Jobe, and naturally he played pretty much every sport in sight before he got to high school and set his sights on baseball and football exclusively. He hit his growth spurt later than most of his classmates, but once he started to shoot up in height and weight, his true talents came to light. And now, he's blossoming as a high school senior before our very eyes. Through his first 6 starts as a senior, Jackson Jobe already has 2 no-hitters under his belt, not to mention 82 strikeouts in just 34 innings pitched, with only 11 hits allowed. This all adds up to a 0.20 ERA and a national draft prospect spotlight that has him potentially going within the first top 10 picks of the 2021 MLB draft. He's a college commit, but this may not matter if he gets a huge enough signing bonus and decides to go pro immediately out of high school. And for Jobe and the scouts watching his every game, this big jump came pretty much out of nowhere. It came thanks to quarantine when the Oklahoma high school baseball season was canceled due to the pandemic. In his own words, Jobe said, "For me, it was almost like another off season. I got 3 months to just work on everything and came really fresh and was ready to go for the summer. Things honestly played out pretty well with quarantine." And it's showing with how dominant his pitches have been. Jackson Jobe's 4-seam fastball is in the 99th percentile of all amateur pitchers, and he's gained 10 ticks of velocity on it from July of 2018 to now. His fastball tops out at 96 miles per hour with a professional grade spin rate. This kid is only 18 years old and he has a major league ready fastball, and it's not even close to being his greatest weapon. That would be his slider. An absolutely devastating pitch, registering an average of 3,100 revolutions per minute. The highest average revolutions per minute, or RPM, of any major leaguer's slider from this year is Miguel Castro, clocking in at 3,016 RPMs as per the date of this video. Jackson Jobe has a major league slider at the age of 18. I mean, come on, that's stupid.
That's pretty good.
And funnily enough, his grip for this slider comes straight from his experiences with other sports that we mentioned before. He started throwing the slider the way he would a football, at first thinking the grip might work for a slow, loopy breaker. This ended up turning into a hard slider, but it was a happy accident. Naturally, because of the high spin rate on his slider, it attracted the attention of many MLB talents, including one Lance McCullers Jr. from the Houston Astros. Jackson Jobe said, "I had a cool interaction with Lance McCullers Jr. from the Astros. Perfect Game posted a video of my slider and he quoted it on Twitter and tagged me and said, 'Pass me that grip.' So I obviously went on Twitter and DM'd him the grip. He asked me for my number and then we texted a little bit, just talking about what he thinks about when he's throwing it." The fact that Jobe is already buddy-buddy with major leaguers and has them commending his pitch arsenal just goes to show how talented this kid really is at the ripe young age of 18. And this isn't even the end of his pitches too. He has a quality tertiary pitch in his changeup, and his curveball is still a work in progress. Jobe has stated that it has really good movement and spins really well, but he doesn't always know where it's going.
His curve is more of a 12-6 because his slider moves laterally across the zone, so if he can perfect his curve and get pitches moving all across the zone, he'll be even more deadly than he already is. I've been paying attention a lot to MLB mock drafts ahead of making these prospect videos, and the most common spot I saw for Jackson Jobe was number 10 at the Mets or number 11 at the Nationals, but some mock drafts had him as low as number 19 going to the Toronto Blue Jays, while some had him as high as number 6 headed to the Arizona Diamondbacks. The point is, Jobe's spot is a little in the air right now. He's a young kid, which is always riskier compared to drafting a college athlete, but Jobe's stuff really looks for real, his major league grade slider being the most convincing part about drafting him. Alright, so we've done a lot of talking in this video with barely any mention of Jacob deGrom, so how are they similar? Well, that's because Jackson Jobe's original position was shortstop, just like Jacob deGrom. When deGrom was a freshman and sophomore at Stetson University playing for the Hatters, he was a shortstop. Now the circumstances are definitely a little bit different because deGrom was a 21-year-old in college when he was drafted, and Jobe looks like he's going to be drafted as an 18-year-old. Also, deGrom was pretty unwilling to change to pitcher at first, but was slowly convinced of it due to good results, while Jobe seems like he was born for it with his superior arm strength that he developed during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there are a lot of similarities beyond just their original positions.
deGrom has a couple inches on Jackson Jobe, but he was also 2 years older. They're relatively the same weight, they had the same original position, their fastball velocity as prospects was pretty similar, Jobe's was even faster, and they both featured a knockout slider that drew a lot of attention to their arms. deGrom was most notable as a prospect for his hard-throwing manner, but he wasn't taken until the 9th round. He didn't get the same media attention that Jackson Jobe is getting as a potential first-round pick. Therein lies the key difference. Scouts are now aware of how valuable this type of prospect can be, and Jacob deGrom is the living proof. deGrom's hitting effectiveness from when he was a shortstop still rings true today, as he has the most hits of any pitcher in the major leagues in the 2021 season. Jackson Jobe is just as good of a hitter as he is a pitcher. His average exit velocity as a hitter is 90 miles per hour, good to clock him in the 93rd percentile of all amateur hitters. And I don't know, guys, when I look at that hard slider, I just see a lot of similarity. It might be a hunch, it might just be an eye test thing, but I don't feel like I'm crazy here. I feel like I see inklings of an ace in Jackson Jobe. So that'll about do it for my analysis on Jackson Jobe. Is it a long shot? Maybe, but there's a lot of eerie similarities between his prospect form and deGrom's prospect form. That may be where it ends, just coincidental similarities, but his outlook just seems a lot brighter than some of the contemporaries in his class. As most of you know, I'm not a fortune teller and I can't see into the future, but I have hunches, and sometimes they work out. Regardless, I don't want this to place any enormous pressure on Jackson Jobe. He should just go out there and do what he does best. Strike guys out like it's his job. But that'll about do it for today's video. If you want me to continue talking about draft prospects, make sure you leave a comment down below telling me who you'd be interested in me discussing. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell below for all future notifications. I'm the Jolly Olive, and I'll see you guys next time.